If you are watching this video, first of all, thank you very much, the handful of you. If you're watching this video on a 2021 Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio, it's because you're curious. Not much more than that about what this car is. If you're actually shopping for a car in the segment, well, you probably have your sights set on a BMW M3 or M4. M3 is a little cooler, in my opinion. Or a Mercedes-AMG C63S, which I don't really see the appeal. It's not that great to drive. I have video somewhere on our channel. CLA 45, the AMG version, that's a much more interesting car in my opinion. And then there's the Audi RS5, which in Sportback, well, version is just absolutely beautiful. But the thing is, well, here I go. Stop everything. Ask yourself why you want one of these cars. Is it just because of the badge? It's an Alfa Romeo. Is it just because of the performance? This is a Quadrifoglio. Is it because of the styling? All the answers are right here. And essentially, by shopping for an M3, an M4, an RS5, a C63, or even a CLA 45, you're being like everyone else. Maybe less CLA, but anyway. You're being like everyone else and you're missing out on something that is beyond exceptional. Now you're telling yourself, I'm not crazy. I don't want a car that has a horrible reputation for reliability, build quality, and all that. I'm willing to bet you, well, I don't have much money. But anyway, the point is that your M3 experience or your C63 or your RS5 experience won't be that much better, if at all, than having one of these. So let's put the reliability aside. Let's talk again about what I just mentioned, and that's being a sheep and being like everyone else. Now, there are very few of these cars on the road, so what does that mean? It's an exclusive, unique, special car. I mean, beyond, above, over the RS5, C63, which are all black for some reason, and the M3, M4, this is the most exotic. This is the one in a lineup that will stand out the most. Are you kind of getting what I'm saying? And then there's the real, there's the reason why you get a 4-leaf clover version. And that's because this car is a more involving car to drive. I'll tell you more about this obviously very shortly. Than an M3, than an RS5, than a C63. It's not as punishing as the AMG. It's quicker than your basic M3. Well, it's not quite as spacious as an RS5 Sportback, but the point is, this is the one you want. This is the one you want. Because it's special, because it's unique, because it's exclusive, because it's exotic. Yes, I do love this car. If, out of the box, I was choosing between a C-Class, a 3 Series, a Q50, and whatever, an A5 or A4 on a 3-year lease, maybe 4, I'd get a Giulia because it's just so much more special and better to drive overall, I promise you. Okay, enough about that. So what we're going to do now, obviously, is we're going to soak in these gorgeous Italian lines, these beautiful, everything is beautiful about this car, and it's so small, it's so compact. Getting ahead of myself, getting excited because I love this car so much. Okay, so walk around is coming, and then we're going to make a little bit of noise. Now, as far as styling is concerned for this car, it's just absolutely stunning, but in a very simple, elegant, very Italian way, I suppose. There's that V Scudetto grill, isn't it beautiful? And yes, the cap is missing for where the tow hook would be. It's part of the front license plate holder now, so pretend like that spot is all red. Actually, speaking of red, let's just talk about color. I guess that's very fitting given the time of the year. The Alfa Giulia is available in so many great colors. There's a very cool green. I think it's actually called Montreal now. I hope I'm not making a huge mistake. But there's a couple of shades of blue. There's another shade of red. Speaking of red, this is the Alfa Rosso. and there's like a chalk color and a black and a silver and all that. And very much like Ferrari, it's almost like risky if you don't take your Alfa Romeo in red. And it'll never be the wrong color, but it just works so much. It's just so perfect. Oh yeah, well look, there's an option too with the yellow calipers, which is a no cost option on the car. The red and the yellow is just fantastic. Look, the entirety of this car is to die for. And what I really love about the car, the styling, is that nothing is over the top, aka BMW Psycho Madness kidney grille, which kind of works on the M3. Yes, the diffuser in the back is enormous and the quad tailpipes are kind of in your face, but everything kind of blends in nicely with itself. It just all fits. It's just beautiful, simple, elegant, so Italian, so right. I don't know, you can't possibly disagree with me and tell me that an M3 is prettier than this or more attractive. And look, from this angle, it looks no bigger than a Civic. And I swear to you, when you're driving it, it feels no bigger than a freaking, I don't know, S2000. Freaking, really? Okay, pricing. In the US, $41,010 for the base car. That's a base Giulia. The Quadrifoglio starts at $75,250. In Canada, $51,590 for the base Giulia. I think that's the best angle right there. And the Quadrifoglio, yeah, it's quite a step up. $93,990. But the thing is that everything is thrown in to the Giulia. Nothing in the Quadrifoglio, nothing is left out. I mean, yes, you get 8.8 inch display screen, wireless charging, Harman Kardon audio, a bunch of carbon fiber accents inside and out. The thing is that there's a bunch of this carbon fiber that you don't see, such as the bonnet, such as the roof, such as the drive shaft. That's all carbon fiber. Those are details that you can't see. You got to pay for them, but you appreciate as an owner and as a driver. And you're going to boast about that, absolutely. There's a bunch of other reasons why you want to boast about this car, and those details are coming soon too. Yeah, the active front splitter down here, which is also really very, very cool. Another thing, you can't see it, you can't really tell, but it moves. I guess we'll go around again, just, you know, a quick walk around, because this is not a very big car. This is the badge, and yeah, this wonderfully well integrated carbon fiber spoiler right there. And yeah, the diffuser. This is the most over-the-top aspect visually of this car. See, the wheels are just 19s. There's nothing else completely nuts about this. Speaking of the wheels, the 19-inch, the dark-colored wheels, surprisingly, that's the only option on my tester. So grand total, $94,600, give or take. And honestly, it's freaking perfect. Freaking again, hey, I'm really going there. Can we just soak this in for a few more minutes? Oh yeah, Brembo brakes, obviously. I just mentioned the yellow calipers. That's all included. There's nothing special. I don't know if you want to see the trunk and the badge. I mean, tell me this is not just an absolute to die for badge. I mean, Alfa Romeo's evolved so gracefully. There's a trunk. See, I wasn't lying. So gracefully over the last 111 years now. I mean, there are a bunch of stories on Motor Illustrated about Alfa Romeo's 110th anniversary last year. I'm digressing. It's a four-door sedan, so it fits as a family car, but obviously everything's kind of tight back here. But hey, the kids are enjoying the noises and the G's. Yes, okay, there's an extra carbon fiber kit, which you can get the mirror caps or carbon fiber, and there's a bunch of other accents. I mean, that's fine if that's what you want, but you know, that's the important stuff. There are also some Psycho seats, but look at these seats. Look, this is the bolster. My hand goes in almost all the way. Look at the supports. Look at that. Just like a suede in the middle. Beautiful Italian leather on the sides. And look, the details. There's nothing crazy going on, but this is real carbon fiber. Harman Kardon, right? I told you about that. It's nothing nuts, because everything that matters is here. And probably the one thing that matters the most is right there, the steering wheel. There's also a carbon fiber steering wheel, which I believe is part of one of the kits. It's fantastic, but you get the same paddles, which are phenomenal. More carbon fiber. This is just a good shot without me sitting in there. It's a little snug to get in and out of, even if the baby seats weren't there, but that's part of when you get in to the Giulia, you're becoming one with the Giulia. And that's one of the things I just absolutely love. And here's another detail. So Italian, I love it. I love how this is black and chrome. It's just excellent. Little digital display, which only has a certain number of menus. You can toggle through them with the button right here. But analog gauges, which are just absolutely perfect. This is an important one if ever you're looking for it and you drive it. You want to shut that off, and you have to shut it off every time. That's an auto start stop. So here's kind of where things, unfortunately for Alfa, fall apart. This is the recently added 8.8-inch display screen, and some of the menus are just slow, and well, now everything's going to work fine because it's for the camera. But, and you know, again, the resolution is horrible, and I don't know what happened to the rest of the screen, but it would be nice to see more of that. That's a, you know, whatever. HVAC, I mean, this could have been pulled out of a Caliber for all I know, but it works. That's all that matters. Heated steering wheel. And then here's your DNA drive mode selector. This is the important stuff. So this is your normal mode, and then there's like an auto mode, and then there's dynamic, which I don't know if you heard that. And then there's the race mode where things get nuts. I'll tell you a little bit more about the center button here. Let's just go back into normal. Real carbon fiber. This is another way you can access the screen up here. Your audio control. The shifter is very plain but beautiful at the same time. And the cross stitching, the beautiful perforated leather. Again, the seats. And what I do love is that this car really is about driving, because look how flat the top of the dashboard is. See, the screen is well integrated and does not even come up at all. I love that. Visibility is good, as you can see, until you get over here, which is kind of a little bit of a pain in the butt, but the bottom of the A-pillar, or the dashboard, is so low and the windshield goes down so far. It's kind of weird, but you can actually see your corner there before you see it here. So you can adjust visibility that way. Well, I've said so much. Okay, let's just go for a drive now. Start stop has to be turned off. I really do mean that when you get on board this car, you become one, and that's unlike an M3 or a C63. And the best way I can explain that is that from the inside, there's nothing intimidating about this car. It really is and was designed all for and about the business of driving. Because that's the only thing that matters with the Alfa Giulia, and styling, of course. I love to drive square and very close to the steering wheel, but I don't recall the last time I sat this close and felt this at one and at ease at the controls of a car. I really do feel like we are interfacing with each other. It's an incredibly good, rewarding, and satisfying feeling. Well, you know, other satisfying things come in the form of power, of course. But before I tell you about the power, you know, like the carbon fiber and everything about this car, it's just only available as a rear-wheel drive car. So that might be important to note if you're looking for all-wheel drive performance, because yes, you can get an M3 and an M4 in the competition with all-wheel drive, and obviously an RS5 is quattro all the way. So that could be one reason to be turned off by this car. But then the C63 is only available as a rear-wheel drive too. And that has nice quiet light. Hopefully it won't be too long. So that could be a slight issue, but it really isn't. Right? The weight distribution on this car is 50-50. Okay? It feels as though everything works around me. There isn't a nose that wants to pull me out of the way. There isn't a rear end that through sheer weight just wants to shove me into the bushes over there. Again, that sense of being at one with this car and the way it drives. Okay, so I don't know if you've seen some of my past videos, but I do I have a real soft spot for the Honda Civic Type R, the FK8, and the way it makes me feel when I drive it and how it reacts to my inputs. It's the best driving front-wheel drive car. It is the best driving four-door sedan in the world. How involved I am, how connected. I'm repeating myself, but you have to understand it and you'll have to experience it for yourself. Because an M3 by comparison has one massive advantage: manual transmission. But it's lumbering, it's busy, it's imposing. Same with the RS5, although that's a little bit more intimate overall, I have to say. And the C63 is just no fun, but that's just me. All right, okay, enough stalling. 2.9 liter twin turbocharged V6, which puts out 505 horsepower at 6,500 RPM, making it, well, on paper, the most powerful car in its segment, but you know, that could change right now, you know. 443 pound-feet of torque from 2,500 RPM. That's enough to send this car from 0 to 60 miles per hour or 97 kilometers per hour in only 3.8 seconds. What's interesting is I did look this up because it feels faster than that. And I forget, Motor Trend, Car and Driver, one of them, managed a 3.6 seconds. Now, obviously, in the ideal conditions and all that, you can probably squeeze out a little bit more, but that's a seriously fast automobile. And it's only rear-wheel drive, right? And it weighs about 50 pounds less than an M3. And I think that's 50 pounds less than a manual rear-wheel drive M3. That's something, you know, about the traction that this car has. But you know, the power and the speed is incredible. Yes, you know what? I'm gonna go into dynamic. Yes, those were train tracks, and obviously the adaptive suspension on this thing too is. I love the spacing between the different settings for the dampers. When you're in dynamic or sport right now, I mean, it's not punishing, but you do feel like you're in there. You're really feeling what's going on around you. I've been driving, 99.9% of my driving has been done with the dynamic adjustable dampers in soft. And the ride quality is incredibly good. I mean, between all the three cars that I've mentioned so far, right, the main competitors to this is the most comfortable. It is definitely the most comfortable. Oh, and this has an included performance exhaust system, which comes on when you set it in dynamic, and it sounds amazing. I mean, it sounds about as good as an AMG 6-cylinder, but there's still a little bit of excuse the expression, there's a fartiness to it that the AMG has, but it's not as deep as this one. I'm trying to compliment it, I promise. That's on kickdown. Oh, and the best part, and this is where I was going with the Civic Type R, is that I really do feel like the front end and I are on the best possible speaking terms at all times. The super quick but not violent steering, this is a bad patch, is so responsive, so always on point, but it's not menacing, it's not disturbing. The front end will never get away from you. I mean, the tires certainly have a lot to do with that too, but look, it's a double wishbone suspension in the front, multi-link in the rear. It's got the adjustable adaptive dampers, and the ride is just so good. And look, honestly, I've shifted the wheel into race, but I haven't driven it in race because, well, I can't race it and I won't race it. So I'll just leave that on the table for if I ever do get to track one of these cars, and I'll discover the true abilities of this automobile. But it is so quick. The torque comes on with force, but gentle force, and you, well, maybe not that gentle, but it's omnipresent. The car pulls constantly, and it's so sustained. But at the same time, because I'm so in touch with this car. It doesn't feel like it's dangerous. I mean, the M4 competition I drove, when the hammer went down, I mean, all four wheels would just dig for grip, and the car would catapult itself, which becomes intimidating. But even this, look, I'm doing 80. There's like a kind of a half a hint of some throttle delay, but that's the transmission, the wonderful 8-speed ZF transmission, figuring I need to drop 3 gears and then we're off. And this one launches too, but it's not the animal instincts, the killer instincts that this car does have are just tuned to be civilized. I know that was unnecessary, I apologize for that. But look, to reiterate my earlier on statement where the Giulia is just special, unique, and just so good to drive. I mean, like I just said it, and I mean it. This is probably the most connected, the most rewarding rear-wheel drive four-door sedan you can drive, that your money can get you. And at 100 grand, 95 grand, I think it's absolutely worth it. And this, because there are so few, this is going to be an appreciating classic. At least, you know, I'll put my money where my mouth is, because like I said, I don't have any, but you'll never tire of this car. Even if the next M3 is faster, the next C63 can, you know, do donuts in reverse around this thing while you're flat out. There's just something exciting and pleasant about this car. And it just happens to be beautiful and fast.